Hey, this is Jim McDonald. Welcome to episode 198 of the PowerCast. This episode, you know what? Before I get started, I have a shout out to Mr. Dave St. Pierre from his wife, who is, I guess, kitchen_beauty7 on Instagram. His birthday was now last week, and she had actually contacted us to make his day special by having one of us contact him, and this is how it ended up working out. So happy birthday, Dave. Happy 30th, and you're a lucky dude, and thank you for being a fan. This episode features Freddy Camacho and Chyna Cho. Something I've observed over the course of the nearly 200 episodes that we've produced so far is that the people who find their sport tend to excel. They find the fit with their sport. And these two people exemplify that greatly. Freddy is a cop. He's over 50 years old, and he placed 7th in the CrossFit Open workouts, the qualifying workouts to get to regionals. He placed 7th in the Northern California region, and Chyna placed number 1 among individual women. She's considerably younger than Freddy. Anyway, when you see people who find their fit, they excel, and obviously these two people fit together really well as well. So it was really interesting talking to them. We learned a lot about what it takes to compete at that level, and the mindset, and how a lot of traditional things sometimes go by the wayside when you're this focused on excelling in your sport. Like and share this episode down below. We'll be back next week with former UFC fighter Kyle Kingsbury. Support for this episode of the PowerCast comes from these fine sponsors: Movement Watches. Go to mvmtwatches.com/PowerCast for 15% off your entire order plus free shipping. 8-Man Apparel for people who lift heavy weights at 8manstrong.com. Compex Muscle Stim products at CompexUSA.com. Use the code PowerCast and get a 28% discount on all but the lowest price model. HowMuchYouBench.net, home of Mark Bell's Slingshot. Bench heavy with no pain with Mark Bell's Slingshot. Bodybuilding.com, the world's largest fitness website and supplement store. Bodybuilding.com has free plans for every fitness level. Visit bodybuilding.com today to become your best self.
Recorded live in West Sacramento, California, this is Mark Bell's PowerCast. This week's guests, Chyna Cho and Freddy Camacho. Standing just to the left of Jim McD, here's your host, Mark Bell.
All right.
Nailed it.
Did we start?
We started.
We did.
Are we in?
Okay.
Are we going?
Yeah.
We're going.
All right. We're here today with Chyna Cho. Did I say that right?
Where do
Did
I
get
look?
it right?
That way? Okay.
You can look wherever you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
we typically just ignore the cameras.
And,
Okay.
and
we just
her
talk
hubby.
to each other.
Okay, cool. I like that.
We can say hubby, right?
Yeah. Don't call me Mr. Cho, though. That happens a lot.
That's terrible.
Used to be somebody. Now he's Mr. Cho.
Here with
Anyway,
her husband,
moving on.
Freddy Camacho, which, by the way, we need to talk about this name because this sounds like a world champion boxing name to me. Freddy Camacho.
It is. I think it is.
Freddy Camacho. Camacho, right?
There was a famous Camacho boxer.
Oh,
but
okay.
Yeah.
He was
see, that's probably why.
Yeah.
He was
I
a
was like, no, he's a
flamboyant.
boxing coach.
He was a flamboyant Puerto Rican, and I'm just a boring Guamanian. So.
Oh, you're from Guam.
My dad is from Guam.
Oh, okay.
My mom is half Mexican, half Irish. So.
And I heard you earlier talking that you're a police officer.
True. Yeah. Over 16 years now.
Jeez.
So.
How does that fit into everything you guys are doing? That's got to be hard.
It's tough training. It
For
is.
him, yeah, it's definitely tough.
Especially, I just switched from working 3 days a week to working 4 days a week for the last year. So training was hard.
Well,
it is hard.
For me, it's nice because his job allows me to work out all day long.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we co-own a gym, so it's not like I don't work, but I don't have to take a ton of personal training clients. I don't have to do a lot of things. Like I said, I'm very fortunate that he allows me to do what I do.
So
police officers, police officers never get enough credit, in my opinion, never get enough respect. it's always the firefighters that kind of get the respect, and the firefighters are usually the ones kind of sitting on their ass. They don't have that much to do, it seems like, right? But you know, in law enforcement, you got the task of, like, you're called for everything. Somebody locks their keys in the car. Somebody has any kind of problem. They're sick and tired of their neighbor being too loud.
Yep.
Somebody has
to
a
raise
loud
their
party.
children.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty crazy. So after doing it for that many years, do you get like you tired of it here and there, or how do you work on dealing with it?
I've always been a pretty easygoing guy, and I started late. I started
You got
late.
some patience.
Yeah, I started at like 34. So for
He's
me,
old.
for me, it's like things kind of wash off me. I roll with the punches, and I like the job. I enjoy it. I can retire. I could have retired a year and a half ago, and I'm still here. So
Right.
I got a good position right now. I deal mostly with community stuff, and have a couple guys that work for me, and we're the kitchen sink unit. We handle any and every call that isn't a normal patrol call.
Right.
We take care of that. So it's a good assignment for me right now. I do a lot of the social media now for the PD too, so I get to interact with people that way. So
Cool.
loving it. I'm gonna stick around for a little while.
How long have you guys been involved in CrossFit?
He started, I don't know when he started. I started it in late 2009, like right after the CrossFit Games of 2009.
Yeah.
So a long time, like 8 years.
And CrossFit started in about, what, 2006 or so?
No, I think it's
A little earlier than that, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, not like official.
Yeah.
Right.
But
I started in my first workout was 2000, March 28th, 2006. So I'm coming up on 11 years now of doing it. So.
How'd you find out about CrossFit? Like, the early days of it are interesting because there wasn't really social media.
Yeah, my gym was the 89th affiliate. Now there's how many? Yeah, so
How high can you count?
Yeah, exactly.
Early adapter right there.
We started out as a martial arts and fight place. I had been fighting, and I had some corner guys, and we decided to open up our own.
So you have
place.
been fighting. I was right.
Yeah. And then one day I was rolling around. We had a jiu-jitsu instructor, and I was rolling around with him. And even when we had that gym, I always was a 24-hour fitness guy. Like, got to go in legs.
Bro sesh.
Legs, chest, thighs, tries. I mean, did that since I was like 16 years old. So
That's the best way to train right there.
exactly. Wait, when I started CrossFit, I could bench more than I could squat.
Oh, man. Hey, I'm in the club.
But I was rolling around with the jitsu guy, and he was only like $150, $160, and he was strong. And I'm like, hey man, what are you doing for your fitness? And he's like, I do CrossFit. And I'm, what the fuck is
what's
CrossFit?
that?
You know what I mean? And I went home that night and then looked at CrossFit.com, and I like literally every night was on it for like about 2 weeks. And then one day I went in the gym, I built this pull-up
Rig.
structure, and I bought a weeder bumper.
You
rubber coated plates.
You built the structure yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Like
some
just-
4x4s and
We
some
built one outside
galvanized
our
pipe.
house.
Yeah, there's one outside
I'm
of my
serious.
house right now.
Right now.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And
You can hang muscle up rings on it and everything.
then I
It's made out of wood?
Yes. And steel
4x4
pipes.
posts with galvanized pipe.
That's
been
amazing.
There's
money.
American
It
flag
was-
hanging on it.
Yeah, it's rock star.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then didn't work out that day, and I have never gone back into a commercial gym and worked out since then. I've just been
Those early days of when you first start doing something, when I do a seminar and I talk to people, a lot of the people there are really young, and they're excited to meet me, and they're thinking like, oh, I'd love to be in his position, or it's cool what Mark's doing or whatever. But what I always tell them is I would like chop off my ear to be in the position you're in right now. So those early days of when you first started CrossFit, it probably felt great. You're probably obsessed with it, right?
Absolutely.
Those kind of beginning years, and no one else really knew about it at the time, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Secret club.
When you first started getting into CrossFit for you, kind of how did you find out about it?
So I was a swimmer my whole life, pretty much. Dabbled in a little bit of triathlons and running, just like things that kind of couple with swimming.
Swimming in high school, college?
Yep, both of those.
Oh, okay.
And anyway, was done with that career. I gained a lot of weight because when I was done with that career, I also turned 21.
What's a lot of weight?
I was pushing 185.
Damn!
And I currently weigh 143. So that's like 40-something pounds. Well, I tore my ACL, I turned 21, and I stopped swimming, like all within like a couple months
started
time
drinking.
frame. And, turned 21. That's what drinking. That's that.
That's the
and
code.
anyway, so that was just a really bad thing. And one of my friends that I went to school with, he was like, once your knee heals up, you should try this CrossFit thing. Like, you're really competitive. You like used to be athletic. You know what I mean? Like, you should try it out. And I was like, I don't know. And eventually I like called the gym and showed up, and I did a workout. It was a 20-minute AMRAP. And I was like, it's like push-ups, sit-ups, and box jumps or something. Okay, this is...
Yeah, like, what is
I
this
can do this.
workout? Yeah.
And I got done, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was like one of the hardest things I've ever done. It was only 20 minutes. I'm used to swimming like 4 to 5 hours a day, within multiple sessions.
Right.
And I was like, I need to do this. And there's a score, and you can be competitive with other people and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, this guy that I went to school with told me about it, and
You were super like challenged by it, huh?
Very much so.
Yeah.
And I liked it because with swimming, it's very monotonous. Like, everything is the same. There's 4 strokes. The only way to get better at swimming, I feel like, is to swim.
You're absolutely right. You
can skill and drill and, kick, pull, whatever, a little bit of things. But with CrossFit, the spectrum is so much bigger that I never felt bored. I never felt like I was doing the same thing over and over, whether it was time domain, weight, movement combination. So I still do movement combinations that I've never done. This is 8 years later. So I like that it's completely different than my previous sport.
Well, this is exactly where our worlds meet up. This is exactly where our worlds collide in powerlifting. Whether someone's using a conjugate system or any other system, conjugate systems where we're always changing stuff, West Side barbell style. You guys have been there. We'll talk about that in a minute. But it's always fascinating to me how many different things you can do. What we love about powerlifting so much is that you're not just squatting all the time, make your squat better. You're not just deadlifting all the time, and you can do those movements, and they can help. Obviously, they're going to help the movement. It's as specific as you can get, right? But something like a bent over row or a pull up can help your deadlift. Having a bigger back can help your bench press. Just having bigger quads can help your squat. And so you start to kind of look around the gym and you start to figure out, you're able to justify every movement.
Right.
How do you justify the movements in CrossFit? Because there's just so many different things to worry about. So when you're trying to program or you're trying to think of like, man, I really suck at that one thing. How do I get better at it? But if you spend a bunch of time over here, now you're pulling away from time over
it's
here.
true.
So how do you manage any of that?
It's true. You get someone else to do it for you. You just say, tell me what to do today.
You need to be in a position where I mean, actually, for like all the elite people, you got to think about it. They're in a position where, like, I can't be elite. I got to work. I got a job. You know what I mean? I got to work 40 plus hours a week.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be able to commit almost, at least 30 hours a week to training.
Right.
Because there's just so
you got to
many.
be a quote unquote
so
professional CrossFitter. Basically.
Yeah,
It's true. Or at least train like one to maybe become one. You know what I mean?
And even then, there's going to be ones that have that opportunity to train like that, and they may not have it. The mental thing, and on top of all that, so it's got to be that perfect storm.
Yeah.
To get to the games anyway.
So you guys have a gym together?
Yes.
We co-own one.
Yeah, we co-own one.
Cool. Where's that at?
In Fremont.
Not too far, huh?
No, not too far.
It was
how long?
Depends
it depends on who's driving.
It's a lot farther when I drive,
He said
and
he
a
had
lot closer when he drives.
He said he had to pee the whole time, so maybe he drove a little faster.
I did. I may have
threw on the siren and just
may have been some speed laws broken on the way
Just
here.
a few.
I got to tell you, my back teeth are floating. So. But yeah, we've been at CrossFit of Fremont for 2 years now. I owned 14. I co-owned CrossFit One World. Like I said, it was the 89th affiliate when we started. I think it's like up to like 60 now. So where those other gyms went, I don't know. But wanted to try and buy out some partners, and they ended up buying me out. And so I split, and then we bought on at CrossFit of Fremont, and we've been there 2 years. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah, 2014.
No complaints so
Awesome.
far. Yeah.
how long or when did you guys meet, or how'd you meet?
Through CrossFit, actually.
Absolutely,
in
through CrossFit.
2009.
CrossFit love.
Yeah, like right after I started. You want to hear about that?
He was in. Hold on. Here's the way I picture it. You're working out. He gets a call, because he's a cop, right? And he pulls up. He's in his cop uniform, and you see a man in uniform. You get all excited.
That would have
and
been
then
so much more
bada bing, bada boom. You said, "Hey, I'm so good at CrossFit. I should be arrested." He arrested you.
Searched her.
Yeah.
Searched her. There we go. Hey, now.
Actually, it was more like she just saw a picture of me and became infatuated with me and stalked me.
It's understandable. You're a handsome guy, right? What are you going to do?
I started at a gym that one of his previous trainers opened.
Just be a little bit more mindful of the mic. That's okay.
One of his previous trainers opened, and when I started, I was obviously super into it, very competitive, and he was like, you should try to go to these sectionals. At the time they had sectionals, and I was like, what does that even mean? He goes, well, if you train really hard, you know, you can like make it to the games. I didn't even know what that was either. And he's like, I'm gonna train my brother who trained at the gym, this other girl who's really good, and this guy Freddie, he owns the gym that I started at. And I was like, okay, cool. So there's 4 of us doing this program, 2 girls and 2 guys. And Freddie started writing a blog about the training because the girls' training was different. He had us all on individual stuff. So I stumbled upon the blog and was like commented on it, was like, oh, you did that today, I did this, I did something completely different, you know what I mean? And then every once in a while we would overlap with the workouts, and then kind of communicated through the blog because your email is attached to that way, and more so for the like, oh, what are you doing versus what I'm doing, and then that kind of blossomed into texting, which kind of blossomed into
So in some
we're married now.
And so
Yeah, we're married.
We're married now.
We were texting and then we're married.
we skipped over a lot, I think. So
Gave you the condensed
So in
version.
some weird way, you met on the internet, kind of, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Interesting. What was the follow-up stuff after that? Just started dating and you met each
No,
other?
I
or
actually
saw each
went to
other,
go
or-
train. He was like, oh, you want to like, this is before anything romantic or anything. Like, do you want to do a workout at my gym? Because I was in the neighboring city, so it was only like 15, 20 minutes away. It wasn't
He got
very
wind. He
far.
heard you were hot, and then he was like, I got to get this.
But I was
girl.
fat. No, I'm just kidding.
She
Not
was. She
fat.
wasn't fat. She was a chubby little girl.
I was definitely chubby. But yeah, so I went to go work out with him, and
He's having a good time about it, isn't he?
I know he is.
And now
yeah.
he's
It's
getting in
fine.
trouble on the
The
whole.
first person to call her that was
It's
John
John.
Wellborn, because
Yeah,
that first year he
Wellborn.
started working with her
He was
after
like,
the
damn, girl,
2010
you need to
games.
like not eat dairy or something.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. I like could not eat. Yeah, it was bad.
Oh man, that's so funny.
Anyway,
he
so I
doesn't
trained with him, and then
he doesn't lack for an opinion.
No.
Let's say.
No, not at all. Not at all.
We actually had quite a long text message relationship before we even met each other.
Yeah.
So it was like a couple months, I think.
Yeah.
So just back and forth, all just CrossFit stuff. They were
Yeah,
talking about
cool.
working out, you know what I mean? And then when we ended up started actually dating, and like we just kind of have the same. Well, it's nice when you both are.
Passionate
Like-
about the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just really worked out. You know what I mean? I mean, I have the job, which we fit all around that, but we both
Yeah.
like, you know, let's honestly, our lives circle around fitness and working
Yeah.
out, and it's worked out. So, it's been a
So
good ride.
when was the time where you kind of realized like that you're going to be really good at this because you're an elite level CrossFitter?
Well, I don't know if I really realized. It kind of like hit me because I made it to the games in 2010, which was the first year that it was at the Home Depot Center, and I'd only been doing CrossFit. I mean, when I qualified for like 7 months, I think.
Right.
So I got like.
That's pretty fast.
It was pretty fast.
crazy.
Yeah. At the time they took it wasn't just California. It was California, Hawaii, Arizona, and one other state.
maybe.
Nevada? I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. It was like the South. We were the Southwest, and they took 4 people. And funny, it was Rebecca Voigt, Val Vobrel, Elise Umeda. She's the girl from 808. Her team made it the past 3-4 years. She's a multiple time games athlete, and me.
Right.
And so I kind of, I guess, realized that I was good once I qualified. So a couple months into CrossFit, you know, I did sectionals, and I didn't think I was going to do that great. I took second in the sectional. They took like 20 or something. And then I went to the regional, and they took 4, and I took 4th and made it. And so I guess after a few months, I decided I was good.
That first year, were you, as you were going up the ladder, were you intimidated?
Yeah, because I didn't feel like I really knew what I was doing. You know what I mean? I like got to the games, and there were so many workouts where I'd never done any of that before. Like, what is that? What is this handstand and a deficit? And they did ring handstand push-ups for the guys then, and it was crazy. Anyway, like so many things, I just felt lost
Plus,
and
I
confused.
think her body still was not conditioned to the stuff that they do, or stuff she wasn't used to it. So like she had issues with the knee still, because she had granted it'd been a couple of years since the knee surgery.
No, not even. It wasn't.
Yeah,
It was
however
like a
long it
year.
had been, there was still issues with the knee. Like she didn't have full range.
I couldn't even do a
motion.
pistol, and they allowed me to do all my pistols at the games on one leg.
Were you at the games, Chubby?
Yes, I weighed 170, 169,
That's
170.
crazy.
At the
If you
games.
ever
Yeah.
go to CrossFit One or Google CrossFit One World Transformation, there's a picture of us the first day that we met, and then
Yeah.
there's pictures of her through the time that I've known her.
Yeah.
There's a picture right before I met her where she's
Yeah.
really big, and then like you can go through it, and there's pictures of her and the transformation, and the transformation's been even more now because like we told you, she's working with a nutrition coach now and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
But you basically gained weight that first time just because inactivity. You were
Yeah.
really active and you were
I
swimming,
was, yeah.
and then you went from that
Yep.
to being inactive. And
Yep.
She was a noodle when she was swimming at San Jose State.
I
She
actually
was
weighed more though.
but she looked like a noodle.
But body composition is completely different.
Right.
Like when you swim
there you
versus when
go.
you lift weights. Oh yeah, there. If you zoom in on those, I'm in the pink. I had blonde hair too. I had a real messed up. Yeah, there we go.
Oh.
Look at that belly, isn't it cute?
Like that comment. Oh.
oh, hey now.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Surprise! I think there's a game like a 2000.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of pictures on that post.
Yeah, that's when
That's
we
the
first
first
met.
day
The
we
first
met.
time ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Freddie looks exactly the same. That was 2010 games.
I'm really a vampire.
I had boobs then though.
I had boobs
Yeah,
then.
that happens.
You can buy those though.
That's true.
That's something you can buy.
That's true.
Yeah, that was regionals in
but that happens with
2011.
CrossFit. A lot of women have lost their boobies.
Yeah. And then
It's sad.
there it is.
It's funny that
what
when
do
I
you know?
wrote that post at the time, I wrote it not so much as just like, oh, look at she was big once and now she's small. I wrote it about like what she was actually doing during that because I think that's
And it
like
took a couple
it's
years.
Like
that was like a
2
2
to
or
3
3 year
time frame
transformation.
of
It
what she
wasn't like
did.
an overnight
And
thing.
it's not like because I told like we were talking earlier, she's never been one to be super strict with nutrition and
Right.
and we
8
drank
years
a lot
later.
and partied a lot. It's still then but she worked really hard and I was just kind of like, hey, you can like
Yeah.
Granted, it's always nice to tune up your nutrition and all that, but if you put in hard work,
Right.
you're going to lose weight and,
Yeah.
your body composition is going to change.
Right.
And that was basically what that whole thing was about.
Yeah, through training, I mean, you can afford to have pizza and stuff like that here and there, like as long as there's some sort of moderation to it,
Yeah.
right? So recently, you've switched some gears and you're on like a full-on nutritional plan, right?
I am. I'm like on all the plans. I like went from like kind of I followed a program and stuff like that, but not necessarily a coach per se. And now I have a gymnastics coach. I like just hooked up with the Misfit guys. They're
Right.
freaking awesome. And then I started working with Matt Chan roughly 2 months ago on
We were just
nutrition.
looking at half-naked pictures of Matt Chan yesterday, I think it was.
Matt Chan
that's
is
correct.
jacked.
He's fucking
Yeah.
jacked.
His wife is jacked.
Yeah.
And so awesome. And anyway, yeah, and I just got macro numbers. I never had that before.
Now she
I'm
logs
weighing
everything.
food. Like, who am I?
She logs it all in a program. And
Yeah,
she's
it's
so
crazy.
anal about it.
I feel so much better, though. I mean, it only took me 8 years to figure that out. Don't worry, better late than never.
You measure everything? How does that
With a
work?
scale.
Does that work if you go to a restaurant or something?
I weigh the damn meat to make sure I'm
It's
eating the
really
right amount.
awkward. Like really
I
really
put it
awkward.
on the thing. I put on a napkin on the scale.
That's awesome.
Well,
you got to
luckily
subtract
with-
out the weight of the napkin.
But, yeah,
No,
I
it
did.
tears.
You
It
do that.
tears. It has a tear
But
button. It has a
I'm
tear
lucky
button.
though. Matt, like before giving me any numbers, like taught me how to hand-eye measure as best I could, and
Right.
so that if I go out, I don't feel like I don't weigh everything. You know what I mean? But I can at least have a decent idea of what I'm eating.
I wonder if he eats like that.
He does.
He
He
eats-
does.
yeah.
I'm his friend on the thing, and I can see what he eats.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, the app is crazy. So some of
It's
those
pretty
restaurants
cool.
have the food already
Already
preloaded in it.
preloaded,
So
yeah.
Or she has her already idea what she wants to pick when we
Except
go
when
out
it's not
to
on the
eat.
menu, then it's all
Yeah, then we
fucked
get
up.
there, it's not on the menu, and she freaks out. Ah!
Yeah.
Have you done 17.1 yet?
I did.
How'd you do?
I think I did fairly good. I was not as fast as Sam Briggs, but that's really hard to do because she's so impressive. I did wear the same exact outfit as her, though, and it didn't work.
Who wore it better?
Well, she wore it better because she was faster than me, but I really liked the way I looked, so
There we
thanks,
go.
Sam, for the inspiration. I think I did good. I did it in 11:35, and I'm happy with that. I wanted to be sub 12. I don't think either of those movements are my best movements. They're not bad. But I did like that there was a light at the end of the tunnel, meaning we could potentially be done before 20 minutes.
Right.
Unlike other workouts, like a 20-minute AMRAP, you have to do it for 20 minutes.
Right.
So I'm happy with how I did.
What
And
is-
I'm not doing it again.
Tell us what 17.1 is.
17.1 was 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 reps of one-arm dumbbell power snatches and 15 burpee box jump overs after every set. So 10, 15, 20, 15, 30, 15, 40, 15, 50, 15. Thanks, Dave Castro. Now all our backs are broken.
Wow. And do you just do it? Can you just do it with one arm, or you
Nope,
switch
you got to
arms?
alternate every single time.
Oh, okay.
Why are you acting like you didn't know? Like
I know.
that
Didn't
you
like
got
5 people?
nine-
You did it
Yeah,
at
no, I had something
9:59.
on it.
No. I did mine so fast that I don't remember. Yeah. You're talking about the 9:59 that I did.
Yeah. Crushed me. Crushed Sam too. You should have wore. I should have wore your outfit.
See?
You should
Should've.
punch your ticket and just go straight to the games. On
Yeah.
that time.
I know. I'm just mailing in numbers. I'm just gonna make them up. I'm gonna be like a little bit better, maybe a little bit worse than the best person, and just kind of do it that way.
I said, we know that your judge died. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
no-
'cause he
there's
was in
actually
so
no
much
witness
shock.
to it. Unfortunately, you were so fast, he went into shock,
That's right.
and it killed him. So
We forgot to hit record.
Yeah.
that happens.
It happens.
That
yeah.
happens.
It happens all the time.
Hopefully, they don't ask for that one when they want you to verify your score. 'Cause you know, to go to regionals, you have to submit one video.
A video, yeah.
Right.
Hopefully it's not that
pick
one.
We'll just hope it's
So
not that
years
one.
ago, people would cheat, right? I mean, it probably still a little bit of cheating going on, but years ago, people would cheat a little bit, right? But it works itself out because how much you're going to cheat, and you're going to eventually run into competition, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's true.
So how do you get your scores? You know, like the CrossFit Open is something that goes on for what, 6 weeks?
5. Oh, thank God it's not 6.
another
six would be
weekend
so
for the Masters
painful.
athletes for us old folks. Is
Yeah.
we have regional. So
So it goes on for 5 weeks. You get your score, and how do you get your score? You have to have a judge watching you the whole time.
Yeah.
Does that have to be like some official person of some sort, or is it official gyms, or?
So there's 2 ways that you can do
Yeah.
it. You can have a judge there and videotape your workout, and then because you're not doing it at a gym that's
A registered
affiliated,
gym,
like a
yeah.
registered
Okay.
gym for the Open. Then you submit the video, but then that gets crazy because then
They can
those
thumbs
are,
up or thumbs down.
Those
you.
are judged by people who pass the judges course,
Yeah.
and they can just log on, watch your video,
And say
and
no
then
rep.
say no rep,
Yeah.
no rep,
Yeah.
no rep, no rep. You know what I mean? So like you get like some people will be super strict. Plus in video, things aren't always what they seem.
Exactly,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Aren't always what they seem. So
Those have to film it a certain way and stuff.
yeah,
certain
yeah, they
angles?
do.
The athlete has to be in it the whole time, and you have to like show
So
the
you
measure
can't-
the box and
everything.
show
Yeah.
the dumbbell weight or whatever the case may be for
Yeah,
that
and if the
workout.
athlete ever goes off it at any time out of the frame, then it's
Interesting.
like so. And then of course, then you can do it at a gym. Now, what's interesting about the gym is that really at the gym, the only person that has to be past the CrossFit judges course, which really sucks balls. I think you should take it just for fun. It's just like 2 hours of your life you never get back.
Oh
But-
no, I've seen those. Those tests are fucking hard.
Yeah, it was easier this year, but it still was.
Last year
It's
was
still it's the video parts that fuck you up. Like I
Yeah, we
said.
had 3 or 4 people working on one time, and we were not getting anywhere. You know, it when you see stuff like that, when you see when you see CrossFit up close, and you start to meet people in the CrossFit community, and you see like the back end of the website and some of the shit that they do with the judging and stuff, all the joking and all the shit that people give CrossFit, for me, it's just like I've seen how much goes into it.
Yeah.
And I can't, of course, like we're still going to make jokes about it and stuff like that, but it's a very fucking serious thing. And they take their time to make sure that the judges are good. They take their time to make sure that it's as level a playing field as possible.
As you can, yeah.
And not that much of attention is paid in other sports. In powerlifting, you might take a course to be a judge, and you do it one time. And then
there's no, like,
30
re-up
years
or
later,
whatever?
you're still
Oh,
a judge or what,
Yeah.
And sometimes we're just pulling people from the crowd and having them judge. We're doing whatever we can because sometimes we don't have the same level of support. But to me, it makes sense that you would take a test nearly every year.
Yeah.
I think it is every year.
Yeah,
It's every
it
year.
is
right?
every year.
And even for your level 1, it's every 5. You know what I mean? To be a trainer, which is still
Right.
good.
Yeah.
That you have to recertify or whatever.
You got to be up to date on it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you can't fall behind.
Some powerlifting federations are a little more on the ball with the judging thing. However, we have a lot of them, and you guys have one CrossFit.
That's
Right.
true.
You know,
How many are there? Is there?
shit.
40 plus in the
Yeah, I
United
think
States.
so.
Little
Oh.
tiny ones
Federations.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Federation.
I did
federations.
not know that.
with
Yeah.
all of them slightly different rules.
Well, Chyna did one powerlifting
I did one
meet.
powerlifting
How'd you
meet.
do?
Yeah.
I think I did really good. I PR'd my bench press.
We did it at Wellborn's place.
Yeah, we did it at Wellborn's place.
How much did you bench? 200?
No.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I think I benched like 160.
So you got to remember, she has a swimmer background, so there's no
We don't
strength
lift
training
weights,
whatsoever. They swing
like,
some
at all.
kettlebells around every now and then.
Yeah.
So.
160 is good.
Yeah.
You got to figure she's always been, as far as when you talk about the top girls in the sport right now, she's always been the weakest one. Cause
I'm going to put you on blast right now.
Okay.
Colleen Foch is a swimmer.
Yes, she was. She is so strong.
And she benches
super
200
strong, man.
I know. I bench like 180, I think, is my best.
Yeah. Colleen's strong. She's jacked as
No,
fuck.
so strong. There are some, like Ariel Stevens was a swimmer too. She's
Yeah.
an Olympic weightlifter. So
Oh
freaking
my
strong.
God. Yeah, she's really
No,
strong.
Not me. Nope.
You're getting there. You're getting there.
What's your bread and butter? What are you best at?
I think grinding through workouts. I'm good at rope climbs. I don't know why.
I would agree with you on the
I'm
grind.
good at rope climbs, and I'm good at like a chipper style workout
You're,
for the most part.
You're good at just a workout that kicks your ass. Endurance, maybe?
Yeah, like not a sprint. Like if I have to go 85% for 30 minutes, I can do that.
Ah, I got
You know
you.
what I mean? Like this past workout, it wasn't 30 minutes. It was a lot shorter, but
Right.
it was more of a grinder type workout. Like just
Gotcha.
mentally stay, find a rhythm, and just don't slow down. I feel like I'm good at that.
How do you win
So-
the CrossFit Games? Like, just what is going on out there right now? Like, it's so competitive. You know, you said you've been in it for 8 years or so.
Yes.
And every year just gets more. I think there's 300,000 people that signed up for the Open.
It
or
is so
something.
hard. No one is ever safe. Like there were people that made it to the games in 2014 that didn't make it to regionals in 2015. No, I'm serious because
Yeah,
like
that's a
of one
fast
bad
evolution.
workout. I mean, when you think about it, that many people. There's only 20 people per region that go.
Right.
It's less than 1% that make it to regionals. That's a very, very
I always
small
look at it
margin.
as that's just the pool's just getting super, super, super big and deep, and
Yeah.
and the guys are getting, and the athletes are
getting
getting younger
Yeah.
and younger. And it's funny when it, like, I always tell this story about in 2009 they did a snatch, like max snatch. At the games,
Round to overhead
and this guy,
in one motion.
this firefighter that I know, he ended up winning it that year, and he snatched like 240, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's amazing!" And it was the ugliest freaking snatch ever. And what's funny about that story is that Neil Maddox was
In
one of the
2014.
judges at that games, and then in 2014,
He dip snatched, like dip and caught 295.
Yeah.
Like it
So-
was like a PVC pipe.
Right. I mean, that's just where the sport is going now. You know what I
Wow.
mean? It's just like, or even look at it. I was in the 2007 games, the first year, and when they did the hopper, the heavy
Shoulder to
shoulder
overhead
overhead
movement.
was 135, and then in the games,
Girls did DT at 145.
yeah, and then in the games,
Like a workout with 145.
The games not last year, but the year before, I was in the Masters division, 50 plus, and they had us lift 135 for 40 straight reps
at 50 years old.
at 50 years old.
Versus that was
You know,
like
so
the individual athletes.
the numbers are getting higher and the athletes are getting younger, well, except for the Masters athletes.
Right.
obviously.
Do they have those defibrillators like right there, just in case? 'Cause I would need something like that. Thinking
Yeah,
about it.
so did I. It was horrible. I wish they would have done that to me while I was alive. It might have killed me. I wouldn't have to finish the week. But yeah, it's just crazy where the numbers are at and what these kids are like. When you go and we go to this Misfit camp, the training camp, was that 2 weekends ago?
Yeah.
And all these guys are just like, they did a clean and jerk, like a battle royale at the end, and there was nobody that was clean and jerking under 315 pounds, and that's where they started. And it was like about a dozen guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was just like, man, this sport is just insane now. It's crazy.
It's going bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
So what?
So, Mark, how broke were you when you started Slingshot?
Broke as a joke.
Broke as a joke.
Money was never really much of a concern of mine, and it probably should have been at some point because I just wasn't really doing well. I wasn't on the radar in terms of the federal government. I wasn't on the radar, that's for sure. My cars kept breaking down. I was
remember
cruising
that.
around in some shitty minivan and had a bunch of other shitty cars that would just keep blowing up on me left and right. Couldn't even make my way to my own gym a lot of times. So that was a frustrating time for sure.
Well, the guys that started Movement Watches were broke college kids, and they wanted to have nice watches. And so basically they just did the research and came up with a way to have those watches manufactured themselves.
Yeah, I hear people talking all the time about, follow your passion.
Right.
And it's a trend, and it's a thing that everyone's kind of talking about right now. But forget about the word passion for a second and just think about something that interests you, that you like. And these guys were passionate. They were excited about watches, and so they decided to make their own. And in doing so, they sealed their own fate. you know, because they took control. You can't control certain things in your life. You can't control certain things that happen to you, but you can control. You can control your choices, and you can make choices to want to be happy, and you can make choices to want to do or move towards the things that you want to do. And for these guys, that was watches.
Yeah, and I think that they had enough of a sensibility about what other people were looking for in watches. That is, you know, affordability being one of them, and then just a really clean look and design, and something that looks a whole lot more expensive than it really is. They're under $200, down to actually $95. That's a pretty cheap.
That's awesome.
That's a pretty cheap outlay for a really nice looking watch. They've sold over 1 million watches in over 160 countries, which is amazing.
That is unbelievable. You know, a lot of people they want to talk business talk these days. It's a real trendy and fancy thing to talk about, and people talk about your ROI and all these different things. And I bet you that these guys in particular didn't give a rat's ass about any of that when they started their business.
They may not have.
They're like, let's make some cool watches that look good, and let's figure this thing out. Their margins at first probably sucked, just like mine did.
Yeah.
And you have to just get started. You have to just get a movement going on. You have to just get going in the direction that you want to go in. So I think it's awesome these guys sold over 1 million watches. That's pretty awesome.
I actually love the name too. I mean, they abbreviated MVMT, but movement that's the guts of a watch.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's like the making of the inside of the watch.
The inside of the watch is called the movement.
Cool.
I think that this would be a good opportunity for our listeners to get a 15% discount with free shipping and free returns by going to movementwatches.com/PowerCast. Now's the time to step up your watch game, guys. Go to movementwatches.com/PowerCast.
It's time for all you slobs to look a little bit more fancy, so let's get going on these watches.
Absolutely. Join the movement.
So what do you think some things are that you would have to improve on to have a chance?
Get stronger, dial in my nutrition, get a gymnastics, so all the things that I'm kind of doing now. I mean, like, you just have to be really well-rounded, and you have to have the time to spend, like you said, on everything. That's what you got.
How do you deal with it when you put in everything that you got? Like, you finished last year and you put in everything you got, and maybe you don't do as well as you want to, and even this year with even putting in more effort, there's a possibility of not.
Absolutely. I missed it 3 years in a row after I made it.
Oh, shit.
And then I made it the last 3 years. But, like, yeah, everyone asks me, like, how do you keep coming back? And how do you keep coming back? I mean, there's obviously that roller coaster ride of, like, man, do I really want to do this? Man, do I really not want to do it? And then I think about it, and I'm like, I just love doing it. You know what I mean? And obviously, if I tell myself, you know, maybe I'll be done competing eventually, this and that, but I'm like, but no matter what, I'm always going to try to make it to the highest level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I'm going to do it, I'm full tilt boogie into doing it. Right. So I don't really have an answer for that, I guess.
When you fail, you know, you go to do one of these workouts or you miss a PR. Like,
yeah.
How do you deal with that?
Well, I miss PRs and I fail all the time.
Some days she cries.
I cry a lot. The beauty of CrossFit, I feel like, is that there's so many other things that I can be positive about. So I try to find, as hard as it is, you know, the positive of my day versus like reflecting so much on the negative. So maybe my lifting didn't go that well today, but I like crushed the gymnastics, like did bigger sets than I've ever done, which isn't necessarily a PR that people like think about. They think like, oh, I PR'd my deadlift, I added 5 pounds, but they don't think like I did 6 sets of 5 versus 5, or, you know, I did 6 sets of 5 instead of all singles. Like that's just a different kind of PR. So I try to find, because again, I've been doing it for so long, different ways of like keeping myself thinking that I'm always getting better. You know what I mean? Versus like, oh, I still suck. I'm still squatting the same thing that I squatted a year and a half ago, which is true. I haven't PR'd my back squat in a year and a half, but I'm lifting 90% almost every single day, which before I could never even come close to that. So that's a PR in not really a PR sense. Does that make sense?
No, it makes.
So just always trying to find the positive in something.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, in here, what we do a lot of times when we're doing.
I'm sure you don't PR your bench press like every day, like a new person.
No.
You got to find something else that keeps you sane. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you're like, I suck. I should just quit.
Yeah, exactly. We get PRs and everything. We'll do, 5 sets of 5 or something. So there could be a PR for just volume.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I did X amount. I've never done that with good form that way for that many sets or that many reps.
Yep.
So yeah, we add up all different kinds
Me
of
too.
PRs.
I create all of them.
Different body weights, different grips. You
Yep.
know, like if we're bench pressing, maybe we have a close grip PR, maybe we have a wide grip PR. I mean,
Yep.
because you do need to like feel good about it sometimes.
Something, yeah. Otherwise, like, it just is a downward spiral.
Selective
You can't
memory
get
is
out.
really good
Yeah,
for that, too.
What are you talking about? That miss slip? I didn't miss that. Never happened.
Or that wasn't really my PR. This was my PR.
Yeah, exactly.
I talk a lot too about serving yourself up like an underhand pitch every once in a while. So you're devastated, you're pissed about your squat, and next day you go in and you rope climb.
Yep.
I'm gonna rope climb. I'm gonna kick everybody's ass. I'm gonna feel really good
Exactly.
today, and then I'm gonna leave.
Yep. Bye.
I think
Drop mic.
I'm king of the cherry pickers right now. I'll rock cherry picking.
Yeah, I think it's important though, because that's the whole reason why you get into fitness anyway.
Yeah.
People that are listening right now and people that are watching are like, shit, man, she lost 40 pounds. She's beautiful, has an awesome husband. She should be fucking happy.
Yeah.
But it's never enough. Yeah, you always have to do better. And as an athlete,
Yeah.
you're trying to kick ass and you're trying to be the best. And
Yeah.
there's still somebody racing past
Yeah,
you.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Or you're trying to stay fit for your job so you don't get killed. That's always
Yeah,
a
that
big
too.
thing,
That
You know what
too.
I mean? Like, and it's not just cops, but everybody out there.
Yeah.
Have you pulled other people into CrossFit?
It's
that
funny
work
when
with
you, like, I eat that a lot
Yeah,
over
that is
the,
a funny question.
like, how many cops, like, at my gym, my PD, man, there's only
How
like,
old are you?
I'm 51. Yeah, I'll be
That's
52
awesome.
this
That's amazing.
at this games.
Yeah.
So, but
Shit,
not
if I was working with you, I'd be like, fuck, what are you doing? You 50? Like, fuck, I
That
got
takes hard work. Like, it's
Yeah,
always
yeah,
easy
yeah, it
for
does,
people
yeah.
to start. It's really hard, to
Keep
Yeah.
going.
want to
and,
keep
not only
going.
that,
Yeah.
like with a lot of agencies where we're at right now in the East Bay, none of the cops really live in town.
It's
they
too
all have to
expensive.
commute like 40 minutes out of town. So you work and most of the guys work a 12-hour shift. So you work a 12-hour shift. You're commuting in traffic sometimes, even really long commute. I get it about not doing CrossFit or something that's like, man, you get home and you just want to decompress. You know what I mean? So and then you want to go and
or
torture
spend time with your
yourself
family
with a
or whatever. Yeah.
12-hour workout. But what's interesting is we get an hour of time at work to work out. Where we have to, obviously in that hour time, we have to take off our uniform, do whatever you're going to do, and then be back in your uniform in an hour time. So then the guys say, well, I don't want to get all sweaty and I don't have time to take a shower. You know what I mean? I'm like, who cares? You're your freaking police uniform. Like, you'll stop sweating eventually. Just throw some Bright Guard on and just go in there and do some pull-ups and run on the treadmill. I don't give a shit. But it's hard. I tell guys all the time because with police work, there's always in contract negotiations, it's always about benefits and medical and retirement and stuff like that. So we actually get a pretty good retirement, when you talk about money-wise, but it's always they're chipping away at the medical when you get out. And I tell these guys, man, you're going to work, and now these new guys got to work till they're 57. I'm like, you're going to work 30-something years and then not take care of yourself, and you're not going to have that much medical coverage. You're going to spend all that money that you tucked away and worked for your entire life on medical expenses when you retire.
Do you still have a pension?
Yeah, we get a pension. We get 3% of our highest year for every year of service. So,
On a complete side note, just something that struck me. 401ks and IRAs were supposed to be supplemental to pensions and Social Security, and somewhere along the line they became the thing instead of pensions.
I think that's what happened, like in San Jose, right? They want to change their pension to a 401k.
Yeah,
or something
and
like that.
and these people are not going to have as much money to retire with. That's just
It's very true. I'm not gonna lie. Like right now, the retirement package for me as a police officer is pretty good.
Yeah.
Where is that going to change down the line? Literally, I got kids that I'm working with now that some of them are still living at home. They're like 22 years old, but they are on contracts now where they have to work till they're 57. I signed on a contract to work to 50. So like 7 extra years, and they're like 22 years old. I do the math. I'm
That's
like, oh my
so
God, this is so long to be pushing around a squad car.
You fuckers are going to be so cynical by the time you get done.
Yeah.
But like, what can keep your sanity on that is working out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't. Not that I don't love the guys that I work with, stuff, but I don't hang out with cops. I go home. I mean, I'm tied up with the gym and everything. So, and I think I've just been working out and training always because it helps me keep my sanity and it keeps me happy. You know what I mean? I'm adjusted. Things don't bother me at work. They say it's such a stressful job, but I will tell you that the last thing I'm ever stressed out about is work. So it's worked out for me.
That's pretty brilliant, though. Not you know, because a lot of people continue the association outside of work, and it's like you're never away from it.
Yeah.
You're never.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're out drinking together. They're out telling the stories about work all day today. And
Right.
I'm busy like just going to the gym and watching Chyna crush me in another workout.
How long have you guys been married for?
A year and 2 months, 3 months. We got married December 2014.
Cool.
15. Shit, I don't even know. We don't have a date. We don't really care about that kind of stuff. Like,
We're kind of a weird couple. We don't like celebrate. We don't give like birthday
birthdays and
presents or
Valentine's Day.
anything like that.
We don't even have wedding bands. We got married with these Kalo rings. I'm not even kidding. White Kalo rings.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the way to
Yeah.
do it.
We didn't have kids, and there's no plans for kids.
No,
so.
we got a dog. That's like our child.
Did you get
That's
married in the gym?
No,
Hawaii.
we got married,
on Maui.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
You guys feel like you communicate pretty good?
Yes. Very much so.
Yeah. Do you worry about him with his job?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, it's got to be scary.
We're kind of lucky because we live in the city that he works, and a mile from the police department, which is nice. So he can come home and eat. So it's not like these people that have to travel and commute the 3 hours, like their wives or girlfriends or whatever, never see them.
Right.
Like I'm very fortunate, like I said, that I get to see him on duty as well, if he needs something or whatever.
Yeah.
So yes, I do worry, but I know that he's smart and healthy and all that kind of stuff. So
you get a little nervous when she's like, I mean, these workouts are hard, and sometimes it's hard to watch. When somebody gets like up against the wall with some of these workouts, you get worried about it.
I get nervous about her all the time.
Yeah.
I like even
Well,
just
you know
watching
she's
her-
not going to quit.
I know that,
Right?
but
Yeah.
I get more worried about her getting hurt.
No, that's what I mean. But
Like,
I'm
yeah.
saying like she might be hurt and she might just keep going because she's crazy, right?
I watch this boxing workout, and I'm just worried shitless for the whole time she's
Yeah.
doing the workout about her
Yeah.
blowing out an Achilles. I'm like, man, she's trained all year. I mean, like what happened
Yeah.
in the games last year? She trains all year. She's looking really good going into the games, and then they go out to the ranch on the first day and do that ultimate trail run thing, and she rolled her ankle the first day. You know what I mean? So it was like, and went through the whole games taped and limping, and I mean, like, you're just like,
It is what it is, right?
and it is, but it is exactly that. It is what it is. You know what I mean? So during the open workouts, I get pretty stressed out.
Yeah.
She gets pretty stressed out about me too. So I think she was crying today.
oh my
Probably 'cause I
God,
just
that was
looked that
so
bad.
painful to watch. I was like, oh, just be done.
Oh, when he was doing his workout.
Yes.
Today? Yeah.
Like one guy was like, were you gonna cry? I was like, yeah, that was horrible to watch.
Yeah.
I like would have rather done it again.
It's kind of interesting. Is like we just been doing it together for so long now.
Like literally since I started, like 3 months
Right.
after. He was there for every sectional, every regional, every
we have
games,
our
everything.
routines down, and we definitely feed out. Like I know exactly what she needs and what she needs to hear before the workout, after the workout. For my end, for her, like when I go and do these other like local competitions or something like that, it's always she has everything strategized out for me, and it's ready to go. And I just do so much better when she can like focus on me. So that's like when we've been to the games together we've gone twice now, 2 years in a row.
Competed and I've competed at the same thing.
Yeah, she's busy.
I get him because
I'm done.
because he's done, but he doesn't get me because we're have thrown everywhere. You know what I mean? So,
But we've been a good team so far.
I think so.
Do you coach people as well?
I mean, the people at our gym, I don't have any personal clients. I mean, that's something that I would definitely want to do when selfishly I'm not focusing on myself.
Right.
But I love coaching the people at my gym. It's fun, because
Yeah.
they have a different outlook than me. They have I don't know, it's just so refreshing.
Yeah.
To
They have
with them.
their goals. Their goals might be easier for you to help them to get because they're maybe
It is.
newer and
It
stuff
is.
like that.
It
right?
is, yeah.
And maybe they couldn't do a push-up a couple weeks ago or pull-up, and now they're hammering out 4 or 5 of them. And
It is, and that's kind
You
of
get a
what I
lot of
love the open. Like I
enjoyment.
hate the
Yeah.
open for
Yeah.
myself, but I love watching people accomplish things that they never thought that they would be able to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
it's kind of what I was referring to earlier about like trading places with somebody who's new.
yeah,
'Cause
it
it's
is
like,
absolutely.
Fuck, man, there's so much enjoyment in that.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. You're like,
You
they
can't
don't know
ever
how
get-
much this is gonna hurt. They don't know.
And you can never get that same feeling back. You can't
No,
get that
you can't.
beginning gains back. You can't get that feeling back.
The people that she coaches are lucky too because she's got this just sick memory. Like literally,
Oh,
she
yeah,
can
I'm
she
kind
can
of
remember
weird.
an overhead squat that somebody did
Really?
during like a 5x5 3 weeks prior. Like she'll
Yeah,
know the number.
I'm really weird like that. I
It's
don't know
really
why.
bizarre. So they're fortunate they have
You have
that.
a good memory in other areas too, or is it mainly with just the weights?
Dude,
or
if
what?
I ever do something bad, she's gonna remember.
No, I do. I have a pretty good memory, but like
Remember when you stared at that one girl down there?
I have a good memory.
Yeah.
It's bad and good at the same time.
I think
but-
it's really impressive at the gym and the people that she works with. They really appreciate that. You know what I mean? Like it's nice when you're like gonna lift something.
But it's
and
like when your
is
coach
like, hey,
tells
you
you
did
did that last week.
Yeah.
Like, why are you
What?
trying to like do this or that or whatever? No, it's
Yeah, why would you use the same weight? Let's just go a little heavier. Then they're probably like, oh wow, she's like paying attention to my workout.
yeah. I like that. I like when people tell that to me too, though.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing that you can remember a particular lift. And
I do.
under
It's
that
really
period of time. I mean, for us, I think we memorized how people move, but we don't
That too.
necessarily remember
That too.
specific lifts.
oh, that too.
Yeah, you can tell when someone's getting to their getting
When
to
they
their
get all
limit.
schmiegel at the bottom of a squat or something, that's me. Yep. You know exactly what I'm talking about when you're like,
Schmiegel, that's awesome.
yeah. Ugh.
Looking like a dog shit on the front lawn, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it gets pretty bad. So how do you do CrossFit kind of like professionally? Is there a way to like? I know a lot of people have Instagram followings and people have some sponsorship and stuff. So is there an effort to try to like monetize anything, or you have some sponsorship and that helps you to afford to be able to work out all day? Or
So I'm really lucky. Like I said, I have Freddie, who makes good money,
Yeah.
and he like I said, we don't live a super crazy lifestyle. Like I don't really care about purses. I don't care about cars. I don't care about shoes. All I wear is freaking, nanos and stuff.
Right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
flip flops or whatever. But
Yeah, there's this whole social media side.
But there
of
is
it,
that, obviously, like
Yeah.
with going to the games or, becoming a more popular athlete or
Right.
whatever, you do get sponsorships, and social media is part of that because that's how
yeah,
companies make money now.
Right.
They're like, oh, I saw that shirt. I love that. Where'd you get it? And it's because they see you wearing it or they
Right.
see you rocking something, knee sleeve, whatever the case may
Right.
be. So
I
obviously
think there's
that's
a lot
huge
of
part
people
it, too.
that think though that some of these CrossFit athletes
Make
are
a
making
ton of
making a
money. There
living
are a
off
few.
of-
There
off
are a
of
few.
sponsorship, and there are a couple, but a lot of them have like their own websites where they're selling programming, or they
Yes.
own a gym,
Yes.
right.
or
There's
I mean,
more work than just working out and posting like, oh, look at my shirt. Yeah, a lot more than that.
It's usually
and
not
then-
just the shirt that we're looking at. too.
Right,
True.
right, right.
True.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
most people, yeah,
Yeah, that's the
absolutely.
other thing I was going to say. Is like the algorithm for the whole thing is not easy to figure out. So
No.
it's going to be the way the girl looks is going to be a huge
It
factor.
is, yeah.
Performance is going to factor in there somewhat,
Some.
but actually will factor in way behind the
Looks.
appearance.
Yeah.
Looks
true.
and the
And-
way that you present yourself on social media.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like camera angle is a huge thing. Like the
Right.
way that you film your workout.
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
there's science to it all. That's for
There
damn
is.
sure.
Well, and then
There
some
is. Like
girls
what
are-
time you post.
Yeah.
There's all that. There's an app for that now. Did you know that?
That's
I did
pretty
not
cool.
know that.
Yeah, you can like rapid fire whenever. Like you can set it up to where it can whatever
No,
day
it like
and time,
tells
right?
you like when your followers view it most or
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Jordan Cook is the one that told me about it. He's like, you can't post now. That's like not a good time. I'm like, what? I'm like, he's like, wait till 8. I'm like, oh, okay. How did you do that? He's like, my app told me. I'm like, what?
That's funny.
I actually have one of those.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called.
I have one called Hootsuite that does that.
That's not his. I
Yeah,
don't remember who-
you can actually see the pattern of when your followers.
Well, they
are
have that on
online.
Instagram. Like
Yeah.
you've seen that, right? That insight thing.
Yeah,
I'm not
that
sure. I
too.
just post all the time.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
I gotta follow you. We had
Yeah.
this. I don't know if we were on camera yet. I was like, God, I didn't realize I wasn't following
Yeah,
people.
I post like 5 or 6 times a day. I just don't care about like the rules,
Yeah.
Like
That's
so what?
awesome.
I'll sometimes
I
just-
do. I feel bad posting more than like twice a day.
Yeah, I just hammer people. If people drop off, so what? That's no whatever.
I dig that.
You can't overdo it. You can't overdo it. I'm in the frequency game.
Do you do
know, just-
Snapchat?
We're working on it. We're working on it.
That is so fun.
She's doing some of the
Isn't
Snapchat for the
Snapchat
gym.
so much fun?
I
My-
can't handle
That
it.
filter with the teeth, that's the best one. With the voice changing. Obsessed.
My problem with Snapchat is with Instagram it was and Facebook, like when those first started up, it was easy to transition to those things, and the functionality of it, especially Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
was fantastic. Like it made sense which button to hit, and then like I learned it really quick. With Snapchat, there's a lot going on, and I'm like, oh my god, I kind of feel like the old guy who used to have the Nintendo controller, and now I got the Xbox one, and I know what the fuck to do.
It's really fun though.
Yeah,
Really fun.
Do you Twitter?
I tweet. Yeah, I tweet. You got a YouTube. Yeah, you need to have all of it.
Yeah, I don't have the YouTube thing.
And I learn something new every day. I'm like, fuck, I gotta join whatever the fuck that is now too.
Insta story. That's the one. That's my newest one.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with the idea of producing something that's going to go away, though.
But that's the beauty of it. Like the way that you say that you post 5 times a day, I just put all of it on Snapchat or on an Insta story. Like,
Insta story doesn't.
Like,
really
what is my
go
dog
away,
doing
right?
chewing that rock? Yes,
Stays
it
there
does.
for a little while.
No, a day. It's a day too. It goes away. Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and then there's the Instagram Live.
I haven't tried that yet. That
you should.
Jesus. I
could use
probably
Snapchat
have a lot of
for work stuff since I'm not supposed to ever post work stuff, and I got in trouble for doing that.
Oops.
When I was working graveyard, I'd be bored, and I would just like post pictures of me in uniform eating donuts and shit. And
Yeah.
I got called to the table on that.
And now he's in charge of social media. So.
Yeah, and then they were like, "Hey, you know what? You're in trouble for all the stuff you put on social media, but you're really good at it, so we're going to put you in charge of it."
Yeah.
That's great.
So weird.
That's awesome. So how would you make CrossFit better? If you were gonna, if you could just get under the hood and make some changes, what would you do to make CrossFit better?
You go first.
I don't know. I think I like where it's at. I'm going to be quite honest. I think it's hard and it's tough to get there, but the way that they do, I think when you try and involve 300 something thousand people signed up for the Open and try and make it as big for the whole community as you can, make everybody feel like an athlete, at least for 5 weeks, that I think that they're on the right path. You know what I mean? So how else are you going to do it? You could brainstorm that.
It is hard. Right? I mean, they've gotten a lot better. I always just think like rules are rules. Like things are kind of confusing sometimes. Like I guess my example would be like if you want to be on a team and like say now they're like super teams, people are moving states and countries and places to be on teams because it's hard to make it as a team. It's hard to make it to the games and people want to go. There's like the rule that you have to live in that location or whatever by a certain date, January 1st or something. I'm not exactly sure because I've never moved. But I feel like some people don't actually live there and they're still on the team. I don't know. It's just so confusing. And I wish that things were a little more black and white and there was a little less gray. But obviously, it's still a new sport. It's not. Yeah. It's been 10 years, 12 years, or whatever. It's going through its growing pains. But that's the one thing that I would say is that like if you're going to say something is a rule for this year, just black or white, cut and dry. And if you're going to change it for the next season, that's fine. Change it for the next season, but don't kind of like muddle around it in between. That would be, I guess, the only thing. Otherwise, like you said, it's hard. And some people are like, well, there should be standard workouts. Well, then it wouldn't be CrossFit. CrossFit is the unknown unknowable. I love that. It's like you don't know what's going to happen. Or 1 minute's going to be dumbbells. 1 minute's going to be just a plate.
We're going to fly you to San Jose.
We're going to fly you to
You're going to get 2 hours of sleep. And then you're going to be back on the floor the next morning.
What makes it awesome. So I do like that it's not the same thing. And
it's not just a... You're not just looking at performance, you're looking at experience.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's always changing. But like I said, the rule thing would be probably the one thing, like just for whatever the season is, have your rules set and black and white a little bit more.
Does negativity ever bother you? Because a lot of times people are negative about CrossFit.
I was negative about CrossFit for a couple of years. Honestly, I was like,
I mean, people, I think they hear what they hear, and then they see social media, and they're watching CrossFit fail videos, and they just
it does.
They think, oh, you get hurt, and so they, I mean, they probably
we all kind of live in like a bubble, though. Like the CrossFit community is a little bit of a bubble. Like, if you love it, you love it, and like some. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, sure, they try to like poke into that bubble a little bit, but it doesn't really penetrate for me.
It doesn't really matter.
Or like you like our friend, we were at dinner the other day, and some guy that she went to college with, and she posted this. A video of her like hitting like a strict pull up,
her first strict pull up. She was so happy,
excited, and he commented something like, "Hey, good,
no offense,
girl, but CrossFit is fucking stupid," or something like that. You know what I mean? You're just like. Well, you know what? If someone's passionate about it, who cares what you think about it?
That's not about CrossFit. That's about assholes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so I feel like, I don't know. And like I said, yeah, obviously it like irritates. Some things are irritating, but it's like, nah, there's so many people that you're surrounded by that just, I'm like in a little bubble. I don't know.
The CrossFit Games are in Wisconsin this year.
Oh, yeah, I know. Jeez, all I think is the Packers.
Yeah. I'm just glad I don't have to drive that to it this year.
I'm sad we're yeah. Regardless, we're going. It seems like a really cool venue and something different.
Yeah.
I've
never been to Wisconsin.
It might be easier for them. It sounds like there's
a lot more venues.
And restaurants and stuff around there.
Yeah.
Whereas like, the
Home Depot Center was very.
You're kind of in the hood.
It was cool, but yeah.
You're in the ghetto.
You're in LA, too.
Yes.
It's just a pain in the ass to be in LA.
And
no offense to LA. I
LA.
like LA, but it's just like moving around and driving and all that.
And traffic. And
then we have to go to Disney. That's the one thing. We won't get to go to Disneyland this year because we had to go to Disneyland every year.
I love Disneyland.
For the record, she's the huge Disneyland fan.
There you go.
I'm the drag around husband to Disneyland.
I don't want to go. You're the whining kid.
But they
crying,
serve beer
slump
there.
shoulders.
They serve beer in
They
California
do in
Adventure,
California
so he doesn't
Adventure.
care.
Yeah, so we go drink beer first, and then I can handle Disneyland.
Oh, there you go. It's more enjoyable.
Ridiculous.
It's much more enjoyable.
What's next for you guys?
The Open, 17.2. This is like consuming our life. This is the hardest. This is so.
It would
literally 17.2 is next.
Yeah. It's coming up, right? In a couple days.
I don't want
Thursday.
To do it. I didn't even want to do 17.1.
Anyway.
Did you do it yet?
That's what's
Did it
coming
before
up.
we jumped in the car and drove here right when we were done. I thought I was going to die. I'm not in shape this year. Like I said, I worked a lot more. I don't have any, made it the last 2 years to the games, but I don't know. I'm not feeling it this year. Who knows what'll happen? Sometimes I pull shit out of my ass. I don't know how I do it.
He does.
But I always perform a little bit better than my training.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just goes back to, I think, from combat sports and stuff, maybe.
Yeah.
But this year's going to be tough. I felt it today.
Unfortunately, you asked that question at the wrong time. You asked in the middle of freaking Open. So nothing. I was like, love to say, like, ooh, we're going to Hawaii next week.
Right.
No, we're waiting for fucking Dave Castro to, like, tell us what we're doing next. Like, puppet on a string.
Yeah, brutal.
Yeah.
Can you train during the Open or not really?
Yeah, I think so.
You have to.
You have to, yeah. I mean, obviously, like, the goal is the games, but you got to take it one step at a time. I don't know. This is the first week, so I don't even know where my score pans out or whatever. But I'd like to think that I'm like, I did pretty decent.
Right.
So obviously you want to do well in the Open, but you have to train to do well at regionals or, to do well in week 5. You can't just stop your life. So yes, you have to.
I think a lot of people do make that mistake. Though I know I've done it in the past,
do.
where the Open is like, you're like, well, hey, I don't want to do this because I don't know what's going to be.
Affect that or
and
whatever.
then they announce the workout, and you're like, well, I can't do this and this before I do the workout, and then you do the workout and you wreck yourself, and you're like, well, I can't train the rest of today. You know what I mean? So
it's
there
a
are
hard
people that I
battle.
think make that mistake. I think some of probably the top end people, or she did the Open workout and then had a whole training session later. That day. So. You have to, I think, at that level. Yeah, us average Joes.
Do you maybe not work out the day before, or do you still like?
Actually, you can. Did you talk to Seth and Drew? We work out the day before. Okay. I did 161 power snatches the day before.
Oh wow!
Before we did the 150, and I was fine. I mean, it worked. So, I used to rest the day before, but they found that you train. They said that they did some research and that you actually train or perform a little bit better not the day after a rest day, but with a little bit of time, which actually makes sense because like even for me, I'm like I lift better when I'm freaking tired. Like when they give me 5 minutes after a workout, I can lift just as well as if they gave me a freaking hour to do like a max squat. You know what I mean? So that kind of made sense to me. So I actually trained.
And your level of fitness is so high to where your frequency is high, and the amount of times you work out per week and per day
it's one workout
is high, so it's easy. And so they're probably programming something that, I mean, I would imagine just isn't a high intensity.
No, and easy to recover.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're going in and getting in some movement, but you're not going in and trying to kill yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, we talk about that quite a bit because as much as I love powerlifting is great, and there's many things you can learn from it, and it can help anybody. Getting stronger can help anybody. However, if I have you do a max deadlift today, if we go all out and I give you a lot of volume and a lot of weight, you're going to be slowed down for a few days.
Yeah.
And so you have to just be careful. Like you're literally going to get out of bed tomorrow slow, You're going to move around slow. Your workout's going to be a little slow.
Wait a second. That happens to me every day. No matter what I do.
Yeah, right. It starts to just happen after a while, right? It starts to just happen. But you just have to learn to like manage that, and you have to learn to just say, okay, well, it's like MMA or fighting, where if you're going to get in close to somebody, then do the damage you can quickly and get the hell out of there.
Yep.
And that's what I see mostly from CrossFit, but also from people in powerlifting that sometimes are just doing a little too much.
Yeah.
Just staying in that zone like a little too long and getting banged up from it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that we've seen that like younger powerlifters do well meet week if they don't take it off. They may not work out all week, but they'll do a reasonable number of things that are not super taxing for 2 or 3 days that week.
What's the recovery for, like, if you guys do a powerlifting meet?
Yeah.
Right? What's the recovery time, or what's it like after the meet for the lifter?
A powerlifting meet is interesting. I think that I'll admit I think I've done some things wrong over the years, because what happens is strength becomes such a main focus that you do lose some conditioning going in, and therefore when you lose some conditioning, you lose your ability to recover a little bit.
Right.
And when you do the contest, you just get killed by it. I mean, it feels, but for her, it would be very easy for her. But the more that
I don't lift like.
Right. So that what's weird is that it's not relative. When somebody squats 900 pounds or something, just because you or somebody else squats 200 pounds or 300 pounds and it's their max, just because they're both maxes, they're not related to each other at all. That 900 pounds just sits in your body for a long time. And so recovering from a powerlifting meet is really, really hard. You get 3 attempts at each lift. You end up with 9. You did a contest.
It's a long day.
It's a long day.
Oh, my gosh. It was all day for that. It's the same with CrossFit too. You do 2 workouts at regionals and you're like, I do 6 workouts in a day. Why is 2 wrecking me? Because you're there all day.
Yeah, and it's
also the stress and the
trying to stay
warming
out of the
up and exactly, and trying to maintain your food and not the nerves and absolutely, all those things come into play.
I think some of the
for sure
the most wrecked I've ever been in my whole life, and anything I can think I've done, the police academy, anything, was like some local competition. And then going home that night afterwards. Just like an all-day thing, not eating.
So would you
stressing out and just like trashing your body 3 workouts in a day? And
so do you rest like a day, 2, 3 after? Well, nothing, or do you do something?
Yeah, I've always tried to get right back into the gym the next day.
Whether it's light, just movement.
Yeah, I've always from mental standpoint too.
Yeah.
Just
get back on the horse.
Tell your body like, hey, don't be such a pussy. Like, get back in there and fucking do something. And so I always try to do something, but after watching some of the guys that we've had here over the last 10 years, I've learned that being in better condition, it can really help you a ton. We have a lifter here that he came in deadlifting 635, and then he did a contest with us just maybe 18 weeks later or something like that, and he deadlifted 755. This is a kid that does jiu-jitsu as well. His conditioning's through the roof. We put him through this crazy workout. We had this Instagram guy come out here, a Real World Tactical, our buddy Tony. You should check out some of his Instagram stuff. You'd love it. He's into MMA and all this kind of stuff. I had him put a couple people through just this brutal workout. The guy does insane workouts that in my opinion, blow away a lot of the stuff that you see CrossFit. It's like 10 times worse than these CrossFit workouts, I think. Anyway, he put these guys through this workout. Ben Alderman was one of the people that we had. We had Alan Thrall, who's a strongman guy, and we had Nsima, who's the guy that trains here. And Nsima did pretty good, considering he's 255 or 260 pounds.
Oh, yeah, big guy.
And he's like all muscle. And what I learned just from watching him and from watching some of the other guys who've come through is that when you build up that frequency and you build up that work capacity, that's a huge advantage towards getting stronger.
Yeah.
And that, in my opinion, is why CrossFitters have gotten stronger over the years. I think before people would say you can't run, you can't do conditioning, you got to get off that Aerodyne bike. If you want to be strong, you can't be doing all that stuff.
Yep.
You can't be all leaned out. Like, you can't do this, you can't do that. And CrossFit has proven it wrong. That information's wrong.
Yeah.
And they did so through frequency. The frequency at which you work out and your rate of recovery is so improved that you do become very strong.
Yeah.
find it really fascinating. It's really cool for me to see that, because that when I started powerlifting, and I've known Jim for I don't know, a long time, 11 years.
11 years, something like that.
Yeah, I've known him for about 11 years. There was no talks of any of this. People weren't squatting more than once a week, really, sometimes twice a week. Wow. CrossFit, I didn't really know a ton about CrossFit, and I didn't realize the Olympic lifters were using some of these concepts of this high frequency, but it wasn't really, it was in powerlifting a little bit, but it was at its kind of infancy. And with powerlifting over the last 3 or 4 years, the numbers have shot up hundreds of pounds.
Because CrossFit kind of changed everything.
It did.
Honestly, it raised the awareness of powerlifting. And a lot of more people didn't necessarily want to do CrossFit, but they actually got interested in powerlifting. And
because of CrossFit.
Because of CrossFit, though. Yeah, absolutely.
It's like a gateway.
Same with I think Olympic lifting now.
Yeah, Olympic lifting too. Olympic lifting now is having a renaissance, and it would never have happened without CrossFit.
What do you think about like these functional fitness things that are happening now at commercial gyms? So the 24-hour fitness that's near where we live now has a functional fitness room that is completely out. They have platforms, bumper plates,
everything. A rig. I think there's a rig.
And they have med balls for wall balls. They have, they have the
so they're
kettlebells
trying to tap
there.
into that CrossFit a little bit, you think?
Oh, I think, as a matter of fact, I think that that's like trouble for CrossFit gyms.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get in, so many people now are going to be doing CrossFit, and like unless you're offering stellar coaching or coaches that can memorize your numbers from 3 weeks ago, why do I need to pay you $195 when I can pay $49.99 and go as many times I want at any time I want, 24/7?
Program.
You follow some app or online programming or whatever, and you can go into a nice gym that has daycare. That has
air conditioning,
control over the climate, the heating and air.
I think you're going to see. It's going to be interesting the next couple of years. I think. So,
well, how interesting would it be if a CrossFit champion came from a 24-hour fitness?
That would be crazy.
Right, or like even a regional.
And why wouldn't a 24-hour fitness just throw money at that person to do so?
I didn't even think about that.
That is. Yeah, I never thought about that.
Hey, you're one of the best in the world, and pay you $500K it would raise so much awareness.
Yeah.
That would be a drop in the bucket for 24-hour fitness.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
It's just cool though. I think because like when you think about it, that now there's bumper plates inside of a 24-hour.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Not just machine. Yeah. Not just.
That's
machines.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mark texted me that you guys were here and asked if I could come in earlier than we had originally scheduled. I was walking out of the 24-hour downtown. There's turf. There are sleds.
No.
There are kettlebells.
What?
There are tires to flip.
That's crazy.
The tires are adapted so that they have handles on the outside of them, so people aren't, like
your bicep.
Yeah, right. But all that stuff, there's a looks like it's not a rogue rack, but it looks like one. There are bumper plates. It's the whole thing. You could absolutely do CrossFit in one of those.
That's the point, though. I think.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Yeah.
Well, some of these companies like Life Fitness owns Hammer Strength. They have like millions and millions of dollars. So for them to just flip a couple switches and make some rigs and whatever, it's not hard for them to do. It's interesting.
It's going to be an interesting time for the small gym owners.
Weird. Yeah.
What's something you learned over the last 2 or 3 years in fitness that has changed some of the things you're doing now? Had a biggest impact?
I know. I got to think about that.
Coaching.
Well, I
think that interactive coaching is.
Yeah. I mean, I started with a guy that helped me, and then I worked with John Wellborn, and then he got really busy. He has kids, business, all that kind of stuff.
Twins, right?
Yeah, twins and a son. Yeah. And then moved and all that stuff. Anyway, he's still one of our really good friends.
Yeah.
And but having coaches and having someone to like actually be accountable to makes a really, really big difference. Because before I had like a program and I thought that was good enough. Like I could just relay stuff off Freddy, but then sometimes I don't want to hear what Freddy has to say because I'm like, you don't know anything. Don't talk to me.
Get out of here, Freddy.
Get out of here, Freddy. But having someone to answer to that isn't your significant other for me was a.
I think it's hard for a husband can't coach it. I mean, I can't.
yeah.
I
Some
can't,
can, I guess,
I mean,
but-
I can be her
Person.
coach on
He's
the
my
game day.
person.
I'm her bag bitch, is what I always say.
No,
right?
he's my
I'm the guy that
person.
hands her her gun.
But,
All right,
yeah.
give her a kiss, go kill it. You know what I mean? What are you
Right.
gonna do? She knows what she's gonna do. I'm not gonna be able to change that.
can't.
You know?
Yeah.
Like when it's a max
Encouragement
lift,
is
I can't
probably-
be like, I think you should start.
He
10 pounds
does, and I don't
heavier.
listen.
And she doesn't. You know what I mean? But somebody else can.
Yeah,
definitely
that
do
is
that.
definitely. Yeah, you're right. But just coaches, because I
Right.
mean, I can think of like even nutrition. Like I know what to eat, I know what's good, I know what's bad, but
Yeah.
when someone tells me what to do, I listen. You know,
Yeah.
that obviously not that I don't listen to you, but you know what I mean? Like, that is definitely in the last couple of years, because I kind of went back and forth with having that and not having that and going back to having that.
And Freddie, you
again.
probably have friends that are similar age, and they probably always say they're too old for this, they're too old for that.
It's
How
funny
do you kind of feel
because
about some of that?
Guys retire at my age at work, so there's like a 4 or 5 guys that are still either around, they'll contract afterwards, or guys will just be all like, I still can't believe that you're the same age as so and so. You know what I mean? But I don't really hang around with a lot of guys. We hang out with her, and I hang out at the gym. You know
We're
what I mean?
21 years
So,
apart, so.
yeah, I definitely don't have a wife that's my age to hang out with.
Well, I like sometimes act older than him, and he acts like 12. So we're like the same age.
Yeah, so it
There we
averages
go,
out.
okay.
If
Yeah,
I'm
it's
51 and
fine.
I act like I'm 12, then I think I'm right around 30.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a little bit older than you, and I don't like to hang out with people my age. I only hang out with people who are younger. Honestly.
Got to keep the mind fresh.
Yeah.
Is
part
there
of the
anything that
game.
you've had to change in your training in the last couple of years?
I've changed a lot. I think more so for me, it's just I'm just kind of burned out. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
You know what I mean? As far as doing having to train with that intensity, I don't enjoy going to that dark place in 12 minutes anymore.
And
I'm not
especially
gonna
he
lie
has
to
such
it,
a demanding job that like you work for 10, 12, whatever hours. It's like you don't have that to suffer. You know what I mean? Like I wake up and that's what I do. You know,
I wake up in the morning and I feel great today. I get to work, and by 9 o'clock, I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do for the workout this afternoon. And then 3 o'clock rolls around, and then
Maybe
maybe
not
4 o'clock,
that,
maybe
yeah.
4 o'clock comes around, and all of a sudden I go out and help assist with a call, and instead of getting off at 5, I get off at 6, or I get off at 6:30, and then I get home and I'm like, fuck, I just want to drink a beer. You know what I mean? I don't want to go and do 5,000 bazillion pull-ups and push-ups.
But luckily
and
for us,
thrusters
we
and-
have a garage gym, and that makes it so much easier that he can literally walk in and not have to do anything.
There are many a days where I'm moving just for the sake of moving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not.
Which
I'm
is
not
better than
accomplishing-
99.9% of
I need to
people,
do
so.
that. I have to have that. I can't just totally be a lazy bum. But definitely just trying to keep that mental, like being able to just kill it day in, day out to get to the games, even for a Masters.
Right.
It's hard.
It's tough. It's tough. But it's what it is.
Sounds brutal.
It sounds horrible.
Yeah, CrossFit. What about going back to some of the MMA stuff? Because that could be some great training.
He did put up a bag in our garage.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hit the bag every now and then. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like CrossFit's supposed to be good for you, but I'm pretty got aches and pains. So I
Yeah.
throw a hook down. I'm like, oh, my shoulder. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And then I got soft. I
Right.
mean, it's 2 different types of training. So
Right.
my hands are softer now, and like there's definitely 2 different
Yeah.
types of training that, and your body goes 2 different directions. And I've been doing the CrossFit thing for 10 years. Don't get me wrong, I got to keep up on some self-defense stuff because I was the defensive tactics instructor at the department, and I've always kind of taken to that stuff well. Like I always can feel like I can handle myself if I get into a fight. But as far as that kind of training, my body is definitely not. I'd have to train for that training, to start all over with that. So I don't know. I'm
And
gonna
I
try.
can't punch for shit, so we just don't even. We don't even try.
horrible.
Is there anything that can be done about, there's more like public shootings going on all the time, and there's school shootings, and there's just craziness going on where people are randomly just shooting up schools or different spots, or you think there's any sort of solution to any of that kind of stuff, or just you can just have crazy people do crazy shit and there's not much we can do about it?
I think we've always had crazy people doing crazy shit. It's just
Right.
that it plays out more in social
Right.
media.
Yeah.
and media
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we've always had. The world's a crazy place. It's full of
Yeah.
crazies. We're crazy.
Right,
All three,
right.
all of us sitting right
Right.
here. You know what I mean? In our own
Yeah.
way. So
So it's getting more attention now.
yeah,
right?
I think
A lot more,
I think you think about it, there was like the whole like Black Lives Matter thing, and then it was the hot topic for bashing the cops, and cops are killing unarmed people. You know what I mean? That's all that was in the media. And now Trump's the president. And when was the last time you heard about a cop and an unarmed person getting shot? You're right. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like that's second rate news now. The hot topic now is Trump and immigration. And, I mean, it is what it is. That's just the way the social media plays it.
Right.
And so we've been lucky where we live. I think we get a lot of support from our community. Don't get me wrong. There's always people that'll hate the cops. It is what it is. But we have a good community where I work that supports us pretty good. So
very cool. Well, you guys are awesome. Where can people find you guys, social media wise?
Me yelling at people on my Instagram in caps. Chyna Cho. Everything's my name.
There we go.
I'm Freddy Camacho 65 on Instagram and just Freddy Camacho on Facebook.
Yeah.
There you go.
And
I gotta go find. And I gotta go follow Mark.
Blog. I run the blog at CrossFitOfremont.com. So that's cool. Daily.
All right, that's it. Multiply your hustle, multiply your muscle, and may all your shits be tapered. I'm at Mark Smelly Bell on Instagram and Twitter. Later.
Shout out to all of our sponsors, 8-Band Strong Apparel at 8bandstrong.com, bodybuilding.com for all your supplement needs, Compex USA for cutting-edge muscle stim machines, increase your bench press at howmuchyoubench.net, Power, the only strength magazine available in both digital and print at thepowermagazine.com. Get 15% off today with free shipping and free returns by going to movementwatches.com/PowerCast. I'm the Jim McD. Everywhere that I want you to find me on social media. Follow the show on Instagram. We are at Mark Bell's PowerCast. We're out.
Yeah, great job, guys. That was fun.
Do you like?
Hit the like button, and we'll be back next week.